Because the past claws its way out. Author Khaled Hosseini drops this line right at the very beginning of the book, and it instantly sets the tone. We usually think of a story's big inciting incident as an action sequence, right? But here, it's just this lingering, suffocating feeling of unatoned sins from a freezing winter day back in 1975. You can try to bury the past, but man, it just refuses to stay buried.
The Kite Runner, The Journey of the Soul. Today, we're diving into this absolute masterpiece of a story for this explainer. We're going to trace the incredible psychological path of our narrator, Amir. We'll follow him from a devastating childhood betrayal straight down into a decades-long purgatory of guilt, and ultimately toward a really hard-fought catharsis. Pashtun, Sunni, master versus Hassan, Hazara, Shia, servant. What's absolutely fascinating here is the insurmountable socio-religious divide sitting right beneath their innocent friendship. On one side, we've got Amir. He's Pashtun, a Sunni Muslim, part of the ethnic majority, and literally the master of the house. On the flip side is Hassan, a Hazara, a Shia Muslim, and part of a deeply oppressed minority forced into servitude. As kids, they kind of just ignore this rigid social structure, right? They share mulberries, they climb trees on Amir's father's estate. But as we'll see, the weight of history and religion, yeah, that's not easily overcome.
Words were secret doorways, and I held all the keys. Slowly but surely, this massive imbalance of power starts creeping into their everyday interactions. Amir goes to school. Hassan doesn't. When Amir reads to Hassan under their favorite old pomegranate tree, he'll actually stop to just make up his own stories, or tease Hassan about big words he doesn't get. Amir realizes that words are basically secret doorways, and he holds every single key. He subtly weaponizes his literacy just to assert dominance over his best friend. It's this tiny, everyday cruelty, but it heavily foreshadows the devastating betrayal that's coming.
For you, 1,000 times over. I mean, wow. This right here is the absolute emotional core of the entire narrative. It's Hassan's promise. It perfectly captures his absolute, unwavering loyalty to Amir. Just pure, unshakable devotion. And it's exactly this beautiful devotion that makes Amir's cowardly failure to protect his friend so incredibly painful to watch. Hassan literally never denied Amir anything. Yet when push came to shove, Amir couldn't summon even an ounce of courage to stand up for him.
The shadow of Baba. Built the most beautiful house in Kabul, wrestled a black bear in Baluchistan, surrounded by influential friends, dominated by a strict moral absolute. Let's talk about Baba for a second, because we really need to understand the psychological pressure cooker that Amir grows up in. Baba is just towering. He's this larger-than-life figure. Everyone agrees he built literally the most beautiful house in Kabul. There are these wild, legendary stories of him actually wrestling a black bear. He throws extravagant parties, surrounds himself with power players. So for Amir, who's this quiet, bookish, sensitive kid who gets carsick, Baba's immense presence casts a really heavy, paralyzing shadow of inadequacy over his entire life.
There is only one sin, and that is theft. So Baba operates on this absolute, unbending moral philosophy. He pulls young Amir onto his lap and tells him there is strictly one sin in the world: theft. Every other sin, just a variation of it. If you kill a man, you steal his life. If you tell a lie, you steal someone's right to the truth. If you cheat, you steal the right to fairness. It is a completely rigid black and white view of the world, and it sets a totally impossible bar for a kid like Amir.
How do you reconcile a righteous father with a lifetime of lies? I mean, we've all had that moment where we realize our parents are just flawed humans, right? But for Amir, the revelation is absolutely crushing. He discovers that his morally uncompromising father committed the ultimate theft. Baba slept with his devoted servant Ali's wife. He completely stole Ali's honor. And worse, he stole Hassan's true identity, hiding the fact that Hassan was actually his biological son, his own half-brother. Like father, like son. Suddenly, all these puzzle pieces snap into a truly heartbreaking alignment. Amir realizes that he and Baba were way more alike than he ever knew. They had both completely betrayed the fiercely loyal, gentle people in their lives who would have gladly taken a bullet for them. Baba betrayed Ali, Amir betrayed Hassan. Underneath it all, they were both tortured souls trapped in this endless cycle of lies, secrets, and just immense guilt.
There is a way to be good again. The chance for atonement finally arrives years later with a single phone call. Baba's old friend Rahim Khan calls Amir in America with this profound promise. Rahim Khan knows everything. He is straight up demanding that Amir finally step up to the plate and atone for both his own sins and Baba's sins. And how is he going to do it? By going back into a war-torn Afghanistan to rescue Hassan's orphaned son, a little boy named Sohrab.
The physical toll of atonement.
Finding Sohrab forces Amir to face down Asaf, the literal architect of his childhood trauma. And the physical toll of this fight is incredibly visceral. You hear the brass knuckles flash, ribs snapping, his jaw completely shattering until he's literally choking on his own teeth. It is a brutal, agonizing beating. But honestly, the most incredible part? While Amir's body is being absolutely destroyed, he feels this profound sense of peace. For the first time in his life, this immense physical suffering gives him a pathway to a clean conscience. He's finally doing his own fighting.
True redemption is when guilt leads to good. It's Rahim Khan who totally redefines the concept of atonement for us with this line. Think about how that applies to real life. It perfectly explains Baba's lifelong philanthropy, building orphanages, feeding the poor. It was all born out of his deep, secret remorse. And it explains Amir risking his own life to pull Sohrab out of hell. It shows us that even the darkest, most deeply rooted guilt can eventually spark genuine, world-changing good, if we actually let it.
Zendagi Migzara. Life goes on, unmindful of beginning, end, crisis, or catharsis. As we head toward the resolution, we're introduced to this really beautiful Afghan concept, Zendagi Migzara. Life goes on. Real life isn't a movie where everything wraps up with a neat little bow, right? It just moves forward, totally unmindful of our beginnings, our crises, or our catharses. It's a bittersweet reality. Amir gets Sohrab back to America, but the boy is deeply, deeply traumatized. The healing process isn't some instant magic trick. It's a slow, quiet, incredibly difficult journey.
But ultimately, the narrative comes beautifully full circle with a kite soaring over the grass in America. Amir and Sohrab are at a park, and a kite takes flight. This simple, everyday object really anchors the whole story. Back in 1975, it was the ultimate symbol of Amir's childhood cowardice and sin. But here, decades later, it completely transforms into a vehicle for hope and healing. Amir actually gets to teach Sohrab his father's old kite fighting tricks.
I ran, and when they finally cut the opponent's kite out of the sky, Sohrab gives just the faintest, tiniest shadow of a smile. It is literally just a flake of snow melting, but man, it's enough. Amir asks if he wants him to go run the kite for him. For you, 1,000 times over, Amir says. And then, I ran. A grown man running with a swarm of screaming kids, sporting a smile as wide as the Valley of Panjshir on his face. He finally, truly mirrors Hassan's unconditional devotion. It's such a powerful moment.
Does true redemption erase the past or just give us the strength to finally face it? Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to chew on. Does true redemption actually erase our past mistakes, or does it just give us the strength to finally turn around and face them? Because as we've seen, the past is always going to claw its way out. The damage we do to each other carries a heavy, deeply human cost. But if we're brave enough to stand up, to face our guilt, and to let that remorse actively lead to good, well, we just might find a way to be good again. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it gave you a fresh perspective on the beautiful, heavy cost of forgiveness.